Working from a computer and making videos from a computer has only further showed me how beneficial it is to stay digitally organized. I've gone over my digital declutter and I've made 423 videos about digital organization, but I've learned a few more things that have really helped me out and that I thought were worth mentioning in a video. I think it's safe to say that most of us really tend to let the junk pile up on our devices and in our digital lives. So hopefully by taking a few of the points that I talk about today, you're able to straighten out the clutter and make your digital space a productive space. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism, frugal living, tech, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you and you end up liking the video, be sure to like, and please use the subscribe button's toothbrush to clean the toilet and then just put it back where you found it. Let's get started. Have a folder organization system. I went to the specifics of my folder organization in the past, and I showed how I really just keep my videos and photos organized by the year that they were taken. All kept in one larger folder on my external hard drive. I still do this, however, my folders bloated quite a bit since doing that, so I've had to be a little bit more selective with the things I decide to keep and a little bit more strict with my organization. Now when I open up my external hard drive, the one that's specifically for my backups, I'm presented with a few very specific folders. One for my photo and video backup that's organized by year, another folder for my documents, and one dedicated for my passwords. I won't go too much into detail about my photo and video backups since I've done that before, but ultimately once I enter, everything, again, is just organized by the year they were created. I have a pretty good idea in memory about when certain videos and photos were taken, so usually I know exactly where to look if I need to find something. As far as the documents folder, once I click and open this, I find documents related to my taxes, copies of my license, and pretty much anything like that, all organized into their own specific folder as well. Another quick tip that I highly recommend here is to keep very short folder names. It just looks cleaner and it's right to the point. My passwords folder is exactly that. A little bit later in the video, I'll dive exactly into how I keep my passwords managed, but basically this has copies of my specific passwords for my accounts. However, they are encrypted in the event that this hard drive is lost or stolen. Having an organized and straightforward folder system is absolutely the most practical way to keep my digital life organized, so I recommend starting there. Scan physical papers into PDFs. Over the years of being a minimalist and decluttering, I would oftentimes come across papers I wasn't sure if I would ever need again, and I would just end up decluttering it. But every once in a blue moon, I would realize that I needed something I had already gotten rid of. This doesn't happen so much anymore, but I definitely feel like a useful tip to share is to scan documents into PDF files and to have a folder dedicated for those somewhere. I did this often when I was still in school, and doing this allowed me to get rid of the physical clutter of actually having the paper, but still have the information that was on it. And they would be kept in a place where they didn't take up physical space, and then I'd be able to delete them when I was absolutely sure I wouldn't need it anymore. I just rhymed it twice in a row. There are free apps out there that allow you to scan papers and turn them into PDFs. And I haven't tried it, but I'm pretty sure even your iPhone can do it too. Clean up bookmarks and favorites. And this is a little bit more specific than just clean up files that I've talked about in the past. Favorites are something I totally forgot even existed and only recently found very useful. My laptop and every phone I've ever owned sort of had these pre-decided favorites that I never chose and I never paid any attention to. When I would first open up an internet browser, I was first shown these bookmarks that I didn't care about. And over time, I slowly found myself just visiting these sites because they were the first things that I saw when I opened up a browser. Specifically, Apple.com and the Wall Street Journal is always shown on Safari pre-installed. And I actually found myself going to these two sites, which I would have never done if they weren't already there. So I decided to take a little bit more control over what's presented to me by simply getting rid of all these pre-decided bookmarks and put things there that actually segued me into being more productive. I added my bank, business email, investing accounts, and things like that into my bookmarks, because those are typically the first and usually only places I visit. This is a really small change, but it's pretty noticeable how much more focused I am on the reason I actually opened an internet browser in the first place, when only the essentials are presented to me. I recommend organizing your bookmarks in a way that makes sense and in a fashion that brings you to the sites you need to actually get something done. Create a master list for passwords. I usually get a lot of negative feedback about how I manage my passwords, so feel free to suggest something better if you have an idea. I have a unique password for all of my accounts, so I definitely need some sort of system in place that makes it easily accessible when I need to access it. I currently keep a master list of passwords in a hidden encrypted folder as a PDF file. Actually, several PDF files. This way, in the event one is accessed, it's not a list with all of my passwords. Anyways, I have them saved as a PDF because with PDF documents, you do have the option to put a password on that file itself as well as use the redacted feature that lets you put a black box over certain texts. I wanted a total set it and forget it way to manage my passwords, and as of right now, I don't really trust any app out there that is a dedicated password manager. It might be overkill to have this much security, but when it's your personal information and banking information on the line, I don't think you could be too safe. I also have my physical two-factor key one would need to log into one of my accounts. Whether you're protecting your passwords like a Fabergé egg like I am, or you have a physical piece of paper with them written down, I think the point here is to just have a list you can reference easily, but it's also difficult for others to access. Clean up email and use labels. At one point in the past, I talked about how creating a new email was the best thing I did to stay digitally organized, and a great way to just start from scratch. I made a new email address using Gmail and have been pretty strict with it ever since. And what I actually do to keep it more organized is create labels and categorize my inbox accordingly. I have a label called Respond for emails that I need to respond to, as well as a label for everything related to my 9-to-5 job. There's also a setting within Gmail that lets you automate which category an email falls under based on certain standards that you set. And Gmail has earned my trust by never really screwing up that automated organization thus far. I feel like most of us neglect our email accounts, and I'm a great example because I was using the same one from like 2007 up until 2019 or so. And I don't think it's something we really even think about too often. Having an organized email has allowed me to easily navigate the important and not so important things that show up in my inbox. There are very few things more satisfying to me than having a organized digital workspace. And these were the few things that were probably the most impactful for me. So I hope you could take a few of the things I talked about today and benefit the same way I have. Anyways, as always, I appreciate the time you spent here and I appreciate you watching. If you did like this video and you like this type of content, be sure to like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.